Okay, so once you have tacked your zip in place, you can now start sewing it. Now, I have my zip here that I've tacked onto my piece of tie-dye fabric. Now, I'm using a dark coloured thread, but I would like you to use a thread that matches the pencil case or the cushion that you have made, so it should not be quite as visible as mine. Mine's looking visible because I want you to be able to see it through the video. Okay, so when you have your zip here, it's a good idea to sometimes move this zip pull to different positions. If the needle at any point hits this part of the zip, or these metal parts here, or this metal part here, then your needle is likely to break. So be very, very careful not to hit those parts. These bits here, these bits are called the teeth of the zip. Now, if you sew over the teeth of the zip, your zip will not be able to move. So it will not be able to open and close and therefore won't function. So just bear that in mind when you are stitching too. So my zip's going to go underneath the fabric like that. Now I've already checked that my machine is all threaded up properly. So my presser foot, this bit, needs to go down. It's going to act as a clamp to hold it in place. We are going to start sewing by pressing the foot pedal. Now please make sure you're only going very, very, very slowly. So you're going slowly along here. Right, count 4 or 5 stitches there. Then we have this button here. It's like an arrow going backwards. We have to press that in to reverse stitch. We use a reverse stitch so that the stitching doesn't come apart. It's kind of like a knot like you would use in hand sewing, but it's how you do it on the machine. So you press it in here. You're going to go backwards 4 or 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop. So I've taken my finger off there. I have to press that button and the presser foot at the same time to make that work. And then I am guiding my fabric through the machine going forward again. So I'm just going slowly along here, particularly where this part is with the metal, because I don't want to end up colliding with that. I'm sewing about 3 millimeters from my folded edge, but if you sew too far over here, it will not catch the zip in, so we need it to be as neat as possible. Now don't go too fast or else it will end up not being as neat as you possibly can. Now when you get to this point, pause. The needle needs to go into the fabric. Now you do that by turning the wheel on the side towards you, which controls the needle. There we go, so it goes into the fabric. Lift this presser foot up, so then you've got the freedom to move it around. And you just need to wiggle that zip along. So just wiggle it along. Like that, so now my zip is shut. Then press that presser foot back down. And I'm continuing down to the end. Right, when I'm at the end, stop, reverse button, press that in and the presser foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go forward 5. When you've finished, you're lifting up the presser foot and pulling this out. Now you're pulling it right over about 15 to 20 centimeters outwards, and then cutting off the thread. So I'm cutting off the thread right out, not over here, right out. And then I have completed that. Now I will end up taking these stitches out later on but I will do that at a later point, and I will show you how to use an unpicker then. Okay, when you have finished sewing along the tie-dye side, you're then doing along the applique side. Now, it doesn't really matter which side you do first. You are then pinning these on flat. So as it's laid out now, these two are flat with, you've got your folded edges here, and it's next to the ridge on the zip. Okay, when you come to sewing on your second piece, you are then sewing along the same as what we did with the first, but we need to make sure that it is flat like this. Now, it's usually easier to end up with the piece that you're sewing on this side so that you control it a bit better, and the piece that you're not working on over there. So we're going to put the presser foot down again, about 5 stitches, reverse button, sew forward again. Remember, this is now going through several layers of fabric, so it might sound a little bit different. Right, when you get to about here, you're going to stop, put the needle into the fabric like that, using the hand wheel on the side, lift the presser foot up and just wiggle the zip along. Like that. That then gives you the freedom to sew down to the end. Okay, and stop. Press the reverse button, 5 stitches, then 5 stitches forward, lift up the presser foot, pull it about 20 centimetres out, cut the pieces off, and there your zip is then completed, like so. Okay, for your next task, you are then going around and sewing the main part of your pencil case or your cushion. Now, the cushion is effectively just a larger version of the pencil case, so I'm just going to show you on this one. So the first thing you will need to do is open up the zip. You don't need to put it all the way along, but about 3/4 of the way along from where it was. You are then going, so you've got your bright side here, and this is the wrong side. The bright side is the right side. This duller side is the wrong side. Effectively, what you need to do is hide that side. It looks like you're going to start sewing it wrong. However, this will then fold out, similar to like if you're washing a sock or something like that. It will fold out and will look correct again. So the first thing you need to do is line up these 2 metal parts of your zip together. Now, you need to make sure they are really accurate along there. So we shouldn't have anything like that. That's not going to work. You shouldn't have anything like that where it's sort of gaping. It needs to literally be lined up accurately along there. When you've done that, so you've lined that up accurately, then you need to grab yourself some pins. Now, with those pins, you are going to keep holding this section, and you're just going to pin it through all of the layers. So there, it's pinned through all of the layers. You need to check that all of these line up really accurately. Now, your tie-dye piece might be bigger, and that's absolutely fine, but you need to just make sure that it's all really, really flat so it's lined up correctly. So then you're going to pin around here, pin around here, and around here, and here. Now flip it over quickly and just check that everything lines up correctly. So there at the moment I've got a little bit of a fold, so I'm just going to repin that one. So roughly like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get a ruler and a pencil, and you're going to very accurately mark about 1 centimetre or 1.5 centimetres from the edge, all around the 3 sides. So not the side with the zip on, but the other 3 sides. So when you've got a couple of marks on there, you can then join those up to create a line. And the same with these sides. It's about 1 centimetre, 1.5 centimetres. Try and make sure it's accurate. Roughly like that. So around here you can see I've got my lines here, along here and up here. I haven't got them along the top because that bit's already been sewn. Okay, from here you're then going to start sewing your zip. Now when you're at a pin, remember to take it out. I don't want you to break the needle of the sewing machine. Effectively you're going to start sewing right from the top here, but the machine does need a little bit to grip. Therefore, put it maybe about 5 millimeters from the edge of your zip. Put the presser foot down, hands roughly there, and gently press the presser foot down. You should start to sew. Then reverse. So reverse it back. Remember to press the presser foot down at the same time. All the way along, following your line. Stop and take the pins out when you get close to them. Keep sewing until you get to the point where you need to turn. Now here I've got a couple more stitches to go, but I know that I can't control that with the foot pedal to that corner, so I'm just going to use the hand wheel on the side of the machine to turn it towards me and to guide that needle into the fabric. Now I need to keep my needle in the fabric so that we can pivot it around, and then it will do stay in the same position rather than moving. So you lift it up the presser foot, flipping this one round this way. Can you see how that's then pivoting it and it's not moving your place at all? Presser foot then goes back down, ready to sew it. We're going to sew along. Take out the pins. Take the pins out again. And repeat the same process. So I'm just going to put the needle in, lift up the presser foot, twist it around, pivot it around, then put the presser foot back down again. Take the pin out. Now with this one you're sewing as far up here as you can get. Now be careful because there is the metal piece there, so just be aware of that. And then reverse to secure it. and then lift up, pull out the sewing machine, and you can cut the threads. So on here, what I should have now is it all sewn up like so. So I've got my 3 edges sewn, and I shouldn't have any holes in there. So if I sort of run my fingers down the edge of my sewing line, I shouldn't end up, it should all be encased. There we go, like that. And eventually what can then happen is we can turn that around to the outside, and you've got then a neat finish on the edge. Just need to cut a couple of loose threads for this one.